Hey everybody, welcome to today's Sunday school video. Unfortunately, that's about as cool as the intro is gonna get. So today's video is about Columbus Day. Hopefully some of y'all got some time off school and are looking forward to having a break in the upcoming week. Now I know that all of y'all know the history behind Columbus Day for the most part. And so I'm sure you could kind of figure out why we're talking about it today, but Liz and I still felt like this was a relevant conversation to have and warranted itself to a really interesting discussion later on in our Zoom. So bear with me. Hopefully, we can make this interesting. I will do my best. Picture this, it's 1992. Bill Clinton has just been elected. Home Alone 2 Lost to New York has just been released. And even better, Alabama has won the NCAA championship. Chef's kiss. This seems to be an overall pretty good year for our country. But there's one thing missing, and it's a huge thing. For the first time, the name Columbus Day was challenged, and today many states have legally changed the name to Indigenous Peoples Day, but it is not nationally recognized as that day. So for many states, including Georgia, we kind of have to symbolically change the name for now. And hopefully today we can kind of look into that, look into the meaning, and figure out why one might want to have a name change. Hey, I have a question for you.
Okay, what's up?
How much do you know about Columbus Day?
Columbus Day? Not very much. I'm guessing it's like, I know it's like to remember Christopher Columbus for like finding the new world, I guess. And I also know it's pretty controversial. Like a lot of people want to get rid of it. But that's about it.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
That's all you needed?
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah?
What do you know about Columbus Day? Do you celebrate it?
No.
You don't celebrate it?
No, because I feel like Columbus is known for like being this hero, but it was really like actually really bad.
Okay, that's all. Based off of my rigorous research, it seems pretty clear that this holiday is not one worth celebrating. But I want to be fair and let you guys come to your own conclusions. So I hope you enjoy this video of the true history behind Columbus Day.
Christopher Columbus is all over America. There are statues in his honor, streets and cities are named after him. He's got his own national holiday, complete with parades. For centuries, Columbus has been celebrated as the brave explorer who discovered the New World.
We celebrate Columbus Day, the anniversary of that day in 1492, when Columbus first sighted the land of the New World, America.
But Columbus never even set foot on North American soil. His 4 voyages brought him to the modern-day Caribbean islands, Central and South America, but never to the country where more than 50 cities, towns, and counties bear his name. We rarely hear about the other explorers, who actually landed in the U.S. just a couple decades after Columbus. So how did a man who never even set foot in North America end up with a national holiday and a permanent place in American mythology? Columbus and his arrival in the Americas is mostly introduced to kids through books, songs, or cartoons like this one.
I will discover a shortcut to India and bring back some of the great wealth I find there. And I can do it, for I know the world is round.
One of the many problems with cartoons like this one is that it taught a lot of wrong information. Children were told that Columbus defied conventional wisdom and proved the world was round. But at the time, people already knew the Earth was round. Columbus actually claimed the world was smaller than predicted, and he was wrong. Children were also told that Columbus's voyages to the inhabited islands in the Americas were peaceful.
The people Columbus called Indians were very friendly, and they gave Columbus and his men many gifts.
But they don't mention that Columbus and his men were responsible for the mass deaths of native people. A friar who lived on the islands Columbus reached and experienced the brutality of the conquest wrote about it. He wrote, "They forced their way into settlements, slaughtering small children, old men, and pregnant women." These details have been kept out of most textbooks from the beginning, allowing Columbus to become an American icon. The idealized version of Columbus is as old as the United States. It all began during the War of Independence when the U.S. fought the British. The new nation needed a rebellious, non-British symbol, and they found one in Columbus. Once the U.S. won independence, streets and cities were named after him. Columbus's iconic status was further cemented in 1828 when Washington Irving published a biography glorifying him. He described him as brave, heroic, and a genius, but he neglected to mention his brutal treatment of indigenous people. But Columbus's real big break came in the late 1800s, when the country he'd never visited started experiencing some massive changes. Italian immigrants were arriving in the United States in big numbers, and they faced harsh discrimination. They were treated as perpetual foreigners and restricted to manual labor. Their Catholic beliefs opened the door for even more discrimination. So they embraced Columbus. After all, he was Italian and Catholic and already admired. So he quickly became an icon for Italian immigrants who argued that they too belonged in America. On the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival in 1892, Columbus Day was first brought into the school system. Schools held celebrations and students pledged allegiance to the flag for the first time, associating Columbus with patriotism in classrooms across America. A year later, Columbus became the theme of the World Expo in Chicago, branding him America's hero around the world. As Columbus and his legend became further embedded in American culture, so did the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic social club founded by Italian immigrants. By 1937, the Knights of Columbus had gained enough influence to convince President Roosevelt to proclaim Columbus Day a federal holiday. But not everyone wanted to celebrate Columbus. While the myth of Columbus had been developing throughout history, Native Americans in the U.S. had been dealing with destruction and discrimination for centuries at the hands of all the European settlers that followed Columbus. But in the 60s, things started changing in America. As the civil rights movement demanded change, Native rights became a part of the conversation.
We've asked the government for hundreds of years to do things for our people or with our people. The government has only compromised, only given us token issues to deal with. We're here today as living factors of the problem that are still existing.
Historians started re-examining Columbus and his story, correcting the myth and including the missing historical facts. As revelations about Columbus have become mainstream, some people have rejected the holiday, as well as the man and the legacy behind it. Today, cities around the U.S. are opting out of celebrating Columbus Day. In some cities, they are choosing to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day instead. At the same time, more than half of Americans think celebrating Columbus Day is a good idea, according to a poll commissioned by the Knights of Columbus. Most countries are formed with the help of myths and heroes to forge a sense of unity and belonging. It's human nature. But as the myth of Columbus is confronted with brutal historical facts, the U.S. will have to decide which myths are worth keeping and which ones to discard.
So I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I didn't already have a opinion formed on Christopher Columbus and whether or not we should celebrate Columbus Day, because if it wasn't clear in the video, I'll just state it now. I personally don't celebrate it. And for the reasons that we've gone over, I don't think he's really the hero of the story. And Liz was actually kind enough to send over a few passages that could potentially correspond with this video. And I wanted to read one to y'all in particular. And this is when you wish it was a Zoom, right? So you could cut me off. But unfortunately, I've got full control, so sit back. It's not too long. This is Timothy 3:1-5. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. And now this line is what really hit home for me. Having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people. I think it's pretty clear that history has a way of making a lot of the not so great characters in the story out to be heroes, and I think that this is a prime example of that. Christopher Columbus, at his best, was committing atrocious human rights violations, and much like we know, this land had already been quote unquote discovered. This wasn't his land to be taken. So I'm curious to hear on Sunday everyone's thoughts and if we all came to the same conclusion. And if we didn't, even better, because now we have a great discussion. So yeah, I'm excited for Sunday and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!